Hello, guys. This is another episode of Networking in the Cloud with AWS. My name is Abby, and you're all welcome. I'll just go straight to what we have today. Today, I'm going to be showing us how to connect multiple accounts, how multiple account connect to the internet via a AZ Availability Zone Independent NAT Gateway using a Transit Gateway. Now, so what I'm going to be doing now is to show you how to connect multiple accounts to the internet via a master account, via the master account's NAT gateway in different AZ using the Transit Gateway. So each account traffic from AZ1 should go via the master account NAT gateway in AZ1. And then AZ2 traffic from the spoke account, I'll use the spoke account as the other account and master account as the main account. Then the traffic from availability zone 2 should go from the spoke account from the spoke account should go via the availability zone 2 of the NAT gateway in the master account. And this is how you want to have it. So this is what I'll be showing. I'll be displaying it because a lot of people have been looking to how to achieve this. So having a lab to show this, it's very handy, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to enjoy it. And like I said in my previous videos, that you'll be doing from basic to advanced. So this is one of the advanced. So it might be a little bit long, but you can always skip it forward to the place that you want to see. But I'll just advise that you watch it all from the start so you don't miss anything. So right away, I'm going to be putting the diagram that we will be using. Maybe some other videos I might not have time to put up a nice diagram like this one that I'll be showing you now. So if you look at this, if you look at up, so I'll just put this up for a while and before I take it away. So this is exactly what we will be doing. You can see that I have a spoke VPC and I have a master VPC here. So from this, you can see that there are instances that are in the private subnet here, and there's a private subnet here also. Yes, in the private subnet here, and you want these to actually go to using the NAT gateway. You can see the NAT gateway in this place. You want them to be able to use the NAT gateway in the master's VPC to go to this. You can see this is availability zone 1, this is availability zone 2. So you want the traffic from this availability zone 1 in the spoke account, when they are trying to get to the internet, they should not go to availability zone 2, but they should use availability zone 1 to go out. And at the same time, but of course, traffic can still, let's say this availability zone goes down, then this is only the time that, okay, they can then fail over to this, to the availability zone 2 to be able to traverse the internet. So this is what we're going to be doing. I'll take this diagram off now. So maybe just for reference, you can go back to this diagram. Okay, so we'll start by this part is where I have my master VPC. This is this one on my left hand side. It's what I know it's not the way it is on the diagram, but it doesn't matter. So this one on my left hand is where I will have the master VPC, and this one on my right hand is where I will have the spoke VPC. And again, I apologize for the light you're seeing there. You might not be doing so good with your eyes, but just apologize for that. So you may just have to bear with me. I guess later I'll find the right spot, a good spot, or do some lightning to make sure that I have a good view. But like I always said, what matters is what I'm about to show you. Not I just like to put a face to what I'm explaining, so you'll be able to flow along. So this is the master account. So we look at the VPC. You can see how I'm going to be using this VPC at this part. I have several VPC, but the one we will focus to use here is the STN spoke. So the one we'll focus to use here is the STNO spoke VPC, and the one we'll be focused to use here is the VPN VPC. VPN VPC. I have two CIDRs here. So the CIDR I'll be using is the first CIDR, which is the 10 network, and this one is the 15 network. So let's get into it. So what the first thing we want to make sure to do is that we want to, according to the diagram, we want to have our subnet set up. So I've gone ahead to do some setup here. I know it's just the basic that we want. We want the basic setup. So this shouldn't be hard to actually set up. So about that, get VPN sub. Just want to make it so yeah, so we can have something like this, and we won't have to. And also in this situation, we have the STNO, because you can see the STNO spoke is what we call it. So we want the STNO. We want the STNO subnet. So STNO sub. Yeah, these are the two subnet that we are looking to have, that we expected to have. And these are the two subnet that we expected to have here, which is the internet VPN. We have the VPN subnet, which is the private A, and the VPN subnet private B. The internet subnet for the VPN VPC, which is the AZA and AZB. If we see if this can show, okay, so you can see the availability zone A, availability zone B. I named it accordingly to AZA, VPC A, VPC B, and the subnet A and the subnet B for this part should also be equals to AZA and AZB. You can see, so you want to, when you trying to set up your infrastructure like this, you want to make sure that everything is organized, so that troubleshooting will be very easy. So the same thing on the spoke side, we have A and we have B. You can see that I'm using Frankfurt region. I'm using Frankfurt region because of the way we are going to be sharing the TGW very soon. So that has been taken care of. So if we look at what I have, let me just quickly see if, okay, I will clean this up. I will probably clean this up and show you how to set it up all over again for a lot of people that are viewing this, so that it can be, you'll be able to see how everything is set up from scratch. So the next thing we have to do is to set up our TGW, sharing the TGW. So we can go to TGWs on the VPC page. So we can go to TGW, the Transit Gateway. You can see I already have a transit gateway that I name STNO. Actually, the STNO is a kind of a new service that was just introduced. It's called Serverless Transit Network Orchestrator. And I'll probably be showing that later on in another video. But so it doesn't matter. You can give this transit gateway any name. So if you look at it here, I have a transit gateway with the ID that ends with 251. And so let's just go ahead and share this to the other account so that we can have it shared, because if you want to share it to the other account, it has to be in the same region. That's why we have the Frankfurt in the master account and Frankfurt in the spoke account. Maybe, I don't know, maybe later on, maybe in another video I can talk about, or maybe when I'm trying to, there's another video I'm going to do, excuse me, with the STNO. I think I'm going to do this to do Transit Gateway inter-region peering, because this is a solution where, a lot of people have been saying, how about if I have a transit gateway in another region and I want to pair it with the master account, how can I do this? Should I because I don't want to be in the same region. And say, okay, we have a solution for you, and that is Transit Gateway in peering, which you can peer with different region. But because we're going to be doing sharing here, it's the same thing still applies. We'll just go straight to the to sharing it. So let me just see. So if we come to RAM, okay, I already have it here. The random access, resource access manager. I say random access. Okay, so this is resource access manager. So what we are going to share is the transit gateway. So you can see that server AWS serverless transit network orchestrator that I was telling you about. So this one we want to share is just the, say, STNO, CGW. That is what we want to share. So we want to share a transit gateway, and this is the transit gateway we want to share. It's because I use this transit gateway for the lab for the STNO, so that's why we have it here. So it's asking for allow a external account. So we're going to paste the other account here. And for anyone that is actually using organization now unit, so it's optional. So you can also read about that if you want to do this within your organization. It's very straightforward and simple. So I'm just going to add that here. I'm going to add the number, the secondary number here. Okay. So this has been added. So then I'm going to create the resource after adding. So once the resource has been created, then I need to go into the other accounts. Can I have a view at this to see what is going on there? So it said associating. So it said it needs to associate. So when we go to the other account, you can see I decided to put them side by side so that we can see everything in one go. So it's asking that I accept expanding. So this I accept. So in this case, we are trying to accept. So once this is accept, this is fine. This is going to change from associating to associated as we can see here. Okay, let me just do this to this is shared by me. This is the one. Okay, so this is what I'm looking for, associated. So we can see it's all good. So this part is fine. We can go back to the VPC where the work. So where the bunch of the work lies is in the transit gateway. So we need to configure the transit gateway in order to properly route traffic effectively. We need to set the attachment. We need to set the route table. This is the difficult part that most people actually encounter, how to understand how the transit gateway route table, how it works and all that. I know if I start to go into details into that, it might take a lot of time. But if you can just follow on with me and see how this is going to be done. So you can just ignore this one. This is the VPN, but I should have taken it out, but pretend as if you never see this. Just take your mind off it. What we are going to do our own part, just ignore that. So the attachments, we're going to be creating an attachment to the VPC because we want to be able to attach. So you choose this is the TGW that we are working on. VPC attachments is asking for what attachment are we supposed to create. So let me just go back to the VPC here. So as they slow down, we come back here. It's asking for, so what we want to do is the VPC, enable these here. So we select the VPC. So the VPC we're interested in is the VPN VPC, and it's asking for this for availability zone. So you see that this is the internet VPN. I also have another subnet, which is a VPN subnet. So you can only select one subnet per AZ. You cannot select two subnets. It's only one subnet per AZ. And by the time I create this by the time I select any of the subnets, the TGW ENI is going to be created in that subnet. But that does not mean that the other subnet that I didn't select will not be able to use the TGW to send its traffic out. It will still be able to use it. But that is just the limit set by AWS. That's only one subnet per availability zone, which makes sense. So because we want the internet VPN is not our major subnet to receive traffic from the other account. It is just the subnet that we want to let out through the internet, as we will see in the diagram. So I'm going to select the VPN subnet for AZ1 and the VPN subnet for AZ2. Just for a real quick view, let me just bring back the diagram. If you look at this, the master VPC, you can see that I said the TGW subnet, which is in the private zone, not the public zone, which is going to be for our internet. You can see the private zone is .1 and the availability zone is .2. So we have a subnet that is called the TGW attached subnet, and there's a VPC attached subnet, which is the public. So the public is the same thing as the internet subnet. It's going to have the VPC attached subnet. The private is the one that is going to receive the traffic. And if you look at this diagram, you can see that if the spoke, let's say spoke in the private subnet in the AZ1 send its traffic out. The traffic is coming like this, it goes into this. You see, by the time it gets to the second route table on the TGW, because in the TGW you can have multiple route tables. So by the time it gets there, you can see the TGW attachment that is receiving this traffic is the TGW attachment subnet and not this directly from the TGW. So, and the same thing still goes to, just for brevity, I've consolidated all this together. The same thing goes to if the traffic is going to be going to AZ1. Availability zone 2. Then you see that the interface that will be taking this will be the TGW attached subnet. I'll explain as we go on for the other ones. So it makes sense that way. Okay. So that's been said. If you want to know more about this, you can drop me a message in the comments. I'll be happy to share more on that. So we create. So if we, that's so quick. So if we go to the second part here, we see that we have the transit gateway. So again, for this, pretend as if you didn't see this, the first part. The one we need to work with is the second one. Now, you can see that there's no name to this. Any shared resources to the other account, you won't be able to edit the name. That's just the way it is. So it's just, so when we look at this, so for the sake of, for the sake of simplicity, you can see this is the VPC, this is peering to another, this peering to another transit gateway. So just for the sake of simplicity, maybe I should delete, let me delete this so that we'll be able to, I hope it's deleted. So we'll be able to start from scratch. Okay, it's deleting, so you can see how I'm going to select the availability zone here also, but the same thing still applies anyway. So the same thing still applies. You see how I'm going to select, I'm deleting these so that you can see how I'm going to select the availability zone in this part. So coming back to this, you can see this is pending, we're creating it, it's pending. So this is the part that we need to create. So this is where the major work is. I have two route table already for this transit gateway. Excuse me. I have route table flat and I have route table on premise. it doesn't really matter. Let me just change this name so that we can, let me name it, let me name it other accounts 1. So let's say we have multiple accounts that are coming in, but this is just the first account. And this is the, let's say this is like flat, it doesn't matter, you can call it another name. This is the account that belongs to the master's VPC. Once again, let me bring the diagram here. If you look at the diagram, you see in the TGW route table, we have 2 route tables. So there's the TGW spoke route table and there's the TGW master route table. Oh, that's a good idea. So I'm just going to rename it back to the spoke and the master so it can make sense. So I'm going to rename these to master, and I'm going to call this spoke 1. So, come on. Good. So you can see this is the master, this is the association. So I'm going to, so what we're going to start doing is to do this, associate the VPC. This is the VPC for the master's account. Associate it to the master route table. That makes sense, right? And because propagation is not enabled by default, association to route is no, propagation no, because I want us to do this by ourselves so you can know the process that you need to take. And you can see there's nothing in the route. Anything that is propagated showing under the propagation will automatically be in the route table. If it's not in the propagation, it's not going to be in the route table. So let's create a propagation for the master. So immediately once this is done, enabled, you see we have that already there. Now you can look at there are 2 siders. You remember the VPN VPC has 2 siders, so that's why you can see 2 siders. So for the spook account, what we're going to do, let's check this if this is deleting already. Okay, so let's refresh. It should be deleted by now. So it's deleted. So let's create it again. We create an attachment. We call it spook. Okay, we choose a transit gateway ID, we want to choose this, the one that was shared to us. So after you've chosen it, we can give it a name if you want, spoke attach. So we select the VPC. The VPC we are interested in is the STNO. So the same thing applies to this, where we only have 1 subnet in this VPC, which makes a lot of sense. And that is exactly what we are trying to do. Let me just move this video a little bit here so I can create the attachment. Take it back. So the attachment is done. While it's creating, we wait for it. Because immediately this is done, we are going to associate the spoke attachment to the spoke route table. That makes sense, right? Okay, so while this is still pending, another thing we want to make sure that we do is to propagate the master, into the spoke, the master VPC into the spoke, so that by the time the traffic is coming from the spoke, because it needs to send the internet traffic to the master's VPC, it needs to be able to have a route for that. Does this make sense? If it does, if you didn't get me the first time, you can always rewind back to hear it again. So, and if maybe I'll repeat it again as I'm explaining. So you see, this is the spoke account. I'm in the propagation association because I'm waiting for the other side to finish. That's why I can associate the VPC now. So, but propagation, we can do this. We say, what do I want to propagate? I want to propagate the master's VPC into the spoke route table so that when the route comes in, it knows, the spokes knows about this cider. Make sense? So let's see if I refresh this. Now it's available. So I can do this. I can say associate I want to associate. You see that we will see that here. You can see this is the new VPC. You know, we only have VPC and VPN. This is the new VPC, which is the spoke. So we create an attachment for that. And before you know it, you see, then we can come here and create a propagation. I'm not sure it will be ready yet. Yeah, okay, it's ready. Because I was creating so fast. So you see, we have the 15 network here. We have so in this, we need to propagate the spoke route table also into the master, so that by the time the master is trying to send a return traffic back to the spoke, it knows how to get there. And that's why we're going to create propagation. I'm going to choose so it's like vice versa. So, excuse me. So after that has been completed, everything is set, I believe. So what we need to do is to create let's go and create our NAT gateway, the two NAT gateways in availability zone 1 and availability zone 2. So we can go, I think NAT gateway should to be in this place. So we will create a NAT gateway. Now we create for the AZ1, the NAT gateway. When you're creating a NAT gateway, many people make the mistake of, because they say, oh, the NAT gateway, the private subnet is the one that is going to be using the NAT gateway. So they created the NAT gateway in a private subnet and things are not working. And they kind of like, what am I missing? Where did I get it wrong? You put a NAT gateway, when you're creating it, you create it in a public subnet, a subnet that has access to an IGW. But when it is about to be used, excuse me, when it's about to be used, it is being used in a private subnet. The private subnet points to the NAT gateway ID. The same thing goes with the NAT instance if you decide not to use AWS managed NAT gateway. So I believe you understand that now. So we choose the subnet and we try to find, I'm not sure if I have a free, let's give it a try. Let's see if I can create this. Okay, that means I have it available. So we've created one. So we're going to create another NAT gateway. We put it in internet B. Yeah. Just want to make sure. So we put that in internet B. Let's try and give it this. Let's see if okay, that's available too. So you can see why it's pending. That is done while it's pending, and this is also completed. This is also, we don't have any problem with this. So one thing I want to point out is this. You will not be, now this route table are for different things. Just forget it and say this also. Just take your eyes off it. So you will not be, the spoke will not be the one controlling the route tables for the TGW, because that's why you see that we created a spoke one route table to be that will be utilized by the spoke account. Because this is a shared resources from the master account, the spoke will not be able to do anything. They can only just reference the TGW from the VPC route table. Now there's difference between the TGW route table and the VPC route table. So stay bear with me. Don't die on me now. We're still doing this together. Immediately this is said, I want us to just complete finishing with the NAT gateway, with the transit gateway route table before moving off, so that we can take it systematically. So let's just, I think the only thing we need to complete here is the route tables on the transit gateway. So what else do we need to do?